Hello there. Hello, everybody. Welcome to my first live in my channel. Um, by the way, thank you very much for joining. For those of you who are joining for the first time ever, thank you very much. Um, this is a live, but I am fully aware that some people will see this recording maybe in the future. So thank you for watching and sharing your time with us. For those one that don't know me, my name is Tamara, and this is a channel in which we talk about art and culture in a very open and honest way. We tend to have conversations in here that sometimes are a little bit uncomfortable, both for artists, for the audience, and um, for other people as well. That could include philosophers, that could include anybody who is into culture and who is working within the culture sphere. We're talking about TV people, we're talking about media, we're talking about artists, we're talking about celebrities, and even politicians. So everybody's on the same boat. And what we do in this channel is that we pick, choose some topics and, try to have an open but honest conversation about them. Sorry, guys, right now I'm staying in a place that it is absolutely scorching. So if you see me doing this every now and then, the aircon is on, but it's crazy, the humidity of where I'm staying at the moment. So apologies for that. Okay, so this has been a crazy week. We had a presidential election in the United States of America. I'm not in the United States of America, just for full disclosure. But, it has been the topic of the week. There is nothing that we can do or say to avoid what's going on. So we need to talk about it a little bit. I'm going to talk about from the artistic and cultural aspect. I'm not here to discuss ideology or anybody else's ideology for that matter. This is not a channel about politics. It's a channel about art and culture. But unfortunately, there are times in which things get mixed. So we need to address it. I try to stand clear from politics and ideologies because I appreciate that not everybody thinks in the same way. And this is not the goal of the channel anyway. The goal of the channel is to talk about, once again, art and culture. And at times we need to have uncomfortable conversations about things that are happening. So I know, quite annoying at times, but it is what it is. So we had the presidential election in the United States of America. A new president has been chosen by the overwhelming majority of the electorate that went and voted. My understanding is that the president chosen, he had over 74 million votes. I don't know if that number went up, but that's last time I've heard. Of course, the president in question, the president-elect, has already been president before. So, yeah, it's like, we're going back to what it was at one point. So, yes. So we're not going to discuss whether the new president is great or not. That's not up to me to decide. It's up to the electorate. It's up to the people. However, I want to talk about something that has become fashionable, particularly in the last few presidential cycles, not only in the United States of America, but kind of around the world. I want to clarify, I'm not here to take away the freedom of speech from anybody. I think freedom of speech is for everybody, and everybody's entitled to an opinion, for sure, whether it's political or not. So I'm not here to criticize whether you should have a voice or not. Clearly you should, no matter where you come from, what your background is, and what your job is. Having said that, At the beginning of this year, I started a series on ethics, particularly ethics on art and artists. And at times, there are certain artists that tend to overstep the mark, and they're welcome in culture and, whatever they do or say in the public sphere. This is something, a phenomenon that we have been discussing and analyzing. So today I'm going to talk about the unconvincing, uncreative, and patronizing, quite sincerely to be said, of the celebrity endorsement. Now, once again, I'm not here to take away anybody's rights to express themselves, but it's just that at times we, as the audience, as the general public, we need to kind of choose who to hear, because there are a lot of people out there giving moral lessons, and they're kind of the last ones to talk. So we're going to be analyzing this, the celebrity endorsement. By the way, the candidate that the celebrity world in the United States of America has lost this election. We're talking about Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris, she was the Democratic candidate, and she overwhelmingly lost the election. She was expected to win more or less in the same fashion that Hillary Clinton was expected to win back in 2016. They both lost to the same candidate. And Kamala Harris, she's the sitting vice president at the moment. And, she had the full backing of Hollywood and the celebrity world. And we're going to be talking about a little bit what happens when you don't fall in line with what Hollywood or the celebrity world says or decides. Because a lot of people like to talk about democracy, but they're not really democratic themselves when it comes to it. So this is a cultural phenomenon. We're going to be analyzing how ineffective the celebrity endorsement is, because not even with a full backing of Hollywood, Hillary Clinton was able to win the election back in 2016. And the same thing happened again 8 years later with Kamala Harris. So we're going to be talking about that. Okay, so there is nothing new with celebrity endorsements. It has always happened in one way or another. But in the last few election cycles in the United States of America, all of a sudden the celebrity endorsement became under the radar, scrutinized and analyzed. Because I love my fellow artists. I love all of them. They have the right to choose whoever they think it's the best candidate. I don't personally have a problem with that. But at times in doing so, they make a public display, and, oftentimes they tend to either humiliate or embarrass themselves. So, post-election, there was a senator, a Republican senator, if I'm not wrong, from Florida called Marco Rubio. I believe he's of Cuban origins. He's from Florida, but of Cuban origins. And he said something very interesting. He said, Bad Bunny and Jennifer Lopez did not deliver for Kamala Harris. And it's funny that he decided to choose, as an example, those two characters, Bad Bunny and Jennifer Lopez. I mean, neither can sing. We have already talked about Jennifer Lopez on this channel. She's a great entrepreneur. She's been very good at selling clothes and makeup and I believe also perfumes. She's been great at that. That's kind of her thing. Her biggest success comes from there. But when it comes from artistry, serious accusations against her. We have already analyzed this, so I'll invite you to watch that um, analysis that we made. This has not been a great year for Jennifer Lopez. She divorced once again from her fourth husband. She, at the beginning of the year, she launched a trilogy of self-obsessed project, which included a movie about herself, but also a documentary about the movie about herself, and an album that served as the soundtrack of the movie and the documentary about herself. Not to mention that she had to cancel a tour in during this summer because nobody bought the tickets. Both the movie, the documentary, and the album were derided. Lots of accusations of her being arrogant and self-obsessed, and things that we all knew already along. Apparently it's a thing in 2024, but for me it was obvious in the year 2000, actually in 1999. Jennifer Lopez has serious accusations against her. She's been accused of not singing her own songs. So to put her next to Bad Bunny, who is also somebody who doesn't sing anyway, these are so-called musicians, but neither know anything about music and singing. So I thought it was funny that Marco Rubio decided to choose them as an example of basically saying, hey, these people did not deliver. These people went and they did, particularly Jennifer Lopez, she did a speech, which we're going to analyze. And Bad Bunny, I really don't know what's he doing endorsing Kamala Harris anyway. But, yeah, that's the state of the arts nowadays, I guess. Um, So we're going to analyze Jennifer Lopez in a minute, but before, I wanted to say that the Hollywood reactions about Kamala Harris losing her bid for presidency were like the typical Hollywood reactions, overreactions of, I'm leaving this country, I'm not going to stay here. They said the same thing 8 years ago, and lo and behold, they're all still living in Hollywood. I think the recent artist who said that she was going to leave was Cher. I don't know if she plans to do that. It will be interesting that if you are claiming publicly that you're going to do something, if your candidate doesn't win, it will be great for you to follow through. Otherwise, you look like an idiot. I'm sorry, but it's like me saying, hey, if my candidate doesn't win, then I don't know, I'll fly in a parachute or something, and then I don't deliver. It's like, guys, yeah. I remember Miley Cyrus saying that she was moving to Canada or something like that. And then the night when Hillary Clinton didn't win, she was crying on Twitter out of all places. It's like, guys, it's embarrassing. If you said that you're leaving, please do. Otherwise, don't make promises because you look idiotic by not doing so, quite frankly. So let's talk about Jennifer Lopez making a speech in Las Vegas. Now, Jennifer Lopez, right now, she's not only in shambles when it comes to her private life or even her so-called artistic life. Her artistic life is a little bit in shatters. Um, But I mean, it's crazy because Jennifer Lopez is the famous ex-girlfriend of P. Diddy. P. Diddy right now, it's being accused. He's the rapper that at one point was known as Puff Daddy. He's accused of insane charges, charges against him. Like, I don't know, is it trafficking, sex trafficker, and intention of prostitution? And kidnapping people. It's insane what's been he's been accused of. And I never liked P. Diddy myself, but earlier on this year we saw how a video of him came out And he was beating the hell out of um, his then girlfriend Cassie. Yeah, I mean, Cassie sued him um, late last year. I think it was around this time when she put forward, I think it was a $10 million lawsuit accusing him of everything from domestic violence to sexual assault. So that has gone global on a great scale. And the funny thing is that a lot of people that were close to P. Diddy, like for example Jennifer Lopez, have remained silent on the issue. And she's not the only one, by the way. You know, there are other big names that we're going to be talking about in a second. They all went to his parties, and insane stuff were happening in those parties. So yeah. So recently divorced Jennifer Lopez, who is not having the best year of her life. A lot of people are pointing her out precisely because of her ties with P. Diddy, whether it was in the past. They recently congratulated each other on Instagram. I think it was during the pandemic. She chose to remain silent about the accusations of P. Diddy. She didn't come forward or against him, which is kind of weird. You know, the accusations are very, very um, strong, and I don't really know how can you remain silent. But anyway, there she is. She's not having the best PR year. Let's put it this way. She's not having her best PR year. So to be very fair and honest with you, I wouldn't choose her at all to come to speak on my behalf. So I'm not really sure what Kamala Harris or her team were thinking of, but that's not the only mistake that Miss Harris has done. There is like loads of them. So Jennifer Lopez recently divorced. She went on stage and she almost cried, and appealing for people to vote Kamala Harris because apparently she's the best thing since sliced bread, I guess. Um, you know, a recently divorced projecting her pain based on poor choices to the electorate. It felt like she was talking about her, quite frankly. You know, we're in pain, we should be emotional, we should be in pain, we should be upset. No, you are emotional, you are upset, you are in pain because your husband left you and because your projects are not working out. Okay, you are in pain, Jennifer, not us. So please stop projecting, stop thinking about yourself for a second. Because the idea is not for you to go up there and talk about you. It's actually talking to the electorate. But this is Jennifer Lopez, guys. So we shouldn't expect much from her. I did find her speech a very interesting performance. At one point, she said something very interesting. She said that she's an American. I'm an American. When all of her career, she reminded us every 5 seconds that she was a Puerto Rican from the Bronx. Now all of a sudden she's American, and as an American, she wants to tell us what to do and who to vote for. Lecturing Americans, crying her eyes out, and who the hell thought that she was a good choice? She does not speak on behalf of every Latino, and as a matter of fact, she didn't, because the numbers of Latinos not voting for Kamala Harris are staggering. So thank you, J-Lo, for not delivering, I guess, for Latinos. At one point, she said something like, I remember back in the day when the president cared about me. I think she was talking about Ronald Reagan, I guess. So I guess she's more of a Republican that you will think of. Why she will say something as weird as that, oh, my president thinks about me. To be very fair and honest with you, no president really think about you. They don't, none of them. But your president, when you were growing up, was actually thinking about you. That was Ronald Reagan. So you were actually endorsing Ronald Reagan at the end of the day. I don't know. It's really weird. It's really weird. But this is Jennifer Lopez. And to be very fair and honest with you, I think we're all sympathizing with Ben Affleck. I think Ben did the right thing by leaving. Jennifer, no, no, girl. Like, you look good. You do look good. You do, but no, J Lo, no. And I'm not gonna read the comments on the videos, YouTube videos. By the way, you go and see the comments of what people really think of her. But she's not the only one from the Bronx telling us who to vote and what to do. So here we have Trinidadian, I think that's how you say it, Dominican slash Dominican stripper turned rapper Cardi B. By the way, nothing wrong with being a stripper. But you know, what kind of people is Kamala Harris? Is Kamala Harris aware of what's going on out there? Clearly not. It's like the who and who, the worst of the people that you could choose to endorse you. I mean, first we have Jennifer in Las Vegas. Now in Milwaukee, we have Cardi B. The accusations against Cardi B, again, accusations of ghostwriting, meaning that she doesn't write her own raps, which is quite believable. Her work is considered by many kind of indecent. She has made songs about her vagina. Yeah, that's the level that we're at, guys. That's the level that we're at. But to be fair on Cardi, at the beginning, she said that she was done with endorsements. She endorsed Bernie Sanders in the past, and then when that didn't work out, she endorsed Joe Biden. And she was done with endorsements because politicians do what they do best. You know, they're all liars. You know, they never follow through their promises. And to be very fair and honest with you, you know, it almost makes you respect Cardi B for telling it like it is. But hey, that soon all changed. Okay, so she gets on stage at a Milwaukee rally for Kamala Harris. She could hardly speak. It was kind of disastrous what she did. She clearly knows so little that she could even formulate a sentence by herself. You need to go and watch the video, guys. I'm gonna tag and I'm gonna put all the links so you can go and see what these people do, because it's insane. At one point, she couldn't read the teleprompter, but what the hell matters whether you have a teleprompter or not? I mean, you're there to speak from your heart, right? Wrong. She couldn't continue up until somebody came on stage and gave her a phone, so she was reading the speech from the phone. It was really embarrassing. At one point, she claims that she's unhappy because she doesn't get a tax cut. Yes, that resonates. A multimillionaire, another multimillionaire on stage projecting their pains and their fears, complaining about, I don't even get a tax cut, guys. Stand-up comedy at best, which was not the case. Mental breakdown at worst. That was Cardi B. So first we have J Lo speaking for every Latino, and the Latino did answer quite overwhelmingly in the elections. We're going to analyze the numbers later on. Now, Cardi B making an absolute fool of herself, but these are both bad choices anyway. So we cannot, to what extent, who do we really blame for this? Kamala, her team, them? We know that, for example, Robert De Niro said that he hated the guy who won. He has already been saying so for the last 8 years. But at least Robert De Niro has talent. What can I say? Whoopi Goldberg as well going bananas because her candidate didn't win. Katy Perry at one point, I think she did a performance, and it's like, again, Katy Perry, not a very good choice. She's not having a very good year. I will say she's having the total opposite. Her album is not doing well, and the first single of her album, which is called A Woman's World, really got on people's backs really bad. The song is not really good because it isn't. Sorry, I need to drink something. I'm kind of dying in here. The song is not really good. I mean, I do not dislike the song. I'm not a huge Katy Perry fan. I'm gonna be very honest with you. I do like some of her songs. Roar, I think it's a great song. So she has her moment, in my very humble opinion. But Woman's World was criticized for not being very innovative. But at the end of the day, you can say, well, that's a matter of opinion. Sometimes songs do well, and sometimes songs don't do that well. In her case, the biggest criticism that she received was the fact that she worked with a producer called Dr. Luke. Now, for those of you that do not know who Dr. Luke is, he's a producer that had a very serious accusation elevated against him by the singer Kesha. Kesha accused him of rape and of drugging her. Also, she signed a contract and she couldn't move forward with her career without Luke's approval. So they had a very nasty battle for a very few years. So it's quite interesting that Katy Perry decided to work with a guy who's accused to be a rapist. And yet she's invited like nothing happened on stage for Kamala Harris. So it wasn't a good night for Kamala, as we all know, to the point that not only she lost the presidency, she was a no-show at her own rally at Howard University on election night. She eventually did her concession speech the following day. And the meltdown was already happening, from TV personalities to so-called artists and celebrities that were all upset. Funny how Hollywood votes in one way and everybody else seems to be voting the other way. By the way, both Latinos and Black people, the numbers did go up for the Republican candidate. More in this election than ever. Back in the day, it was assumed that if you were Black or Latino, you would vote Democrat, which seemed to be overwhelmingly the case for Hillary Clinton and Joe Biden. But this time it went the total opposite. And there is a huge number of women, 45% of them, who voted for the Republican candidate. So it wasn't a good night for Kamala Harris, and all these endorsements didn't help. Glorilla was another rapper who she went on stage and actually performed. We're going to talk about Glorilla in a minute. Why do we need these people? It's crazy. I really don't get it. So we have TV personalities. I'm not even sure if I want to talk about this, because there is a TV program that I always despised. It's called The View. But it's not only the American version. I don't like the British version of it either. I don't like when women sit down and just talk and talk and talk, and all they do is criticize what others do. I really resent that. I really resent that. And as I'm getting a little bit, the temperature is going up in here because I'm getting, apologies guys, but I'm dying in here. And I'm getting more. I don't like the View. Basically, I do not. I'm sorry. I know that a lot of people watch that program. I never really liked them. It's absolutely impossible. It's to follow it through. It's just it's crap. So one of the panelists know it all in that uh, in that program. Somebody that I don't really like. You can work it out for yourself who that person is. Sorry, it's not about me giving my opinion on who I like or don't. It's I'm here to analyze culture at the end of the day. And when you see some people really embarrassing themselves and yet claiming that they know it all, they have all the answers, and they feel superior, and they tell you what to do and what to say, that gets at the end of the day, people get tired of it. People get tired of it. I'm tired of it, and everybody else is tired of it. And it is clear that in the United States of America, the overwhelming majority of people are tired of it too. People are tired of Hollywood and the mainstream media lying for their own benefit. We're tired, guys. We're tired. That's why, for better or for worse, people vote in the way that they vote. It's that. And instead of doing a retrospective analysis, hey, where did we go wrong? What is it that we did that we could have done better? No, it's always everybody else's fault. It's the other guy's fault. It's the other party's fault. So this person, she claimed that her children has less rights than her. And it's funny because all of these people are multimillionaire themselves, and they live in mansions, the J-Los, the Cardi B's, the TV personalities. And yet they claim to talk on behalf of the normal human being, the one that cannot make it till the end of the month, the one that has to get out of their home and their houses to go to work. And in some areas, they don't even know if they're going to come back alive because it's unsafe. So we have these people in their mansions telling others what to do. Do you understand why people get tired of these people? Do you get it? Having TV personalities say, we enjoy less rights. What less rights? You do not have less rights. You have the same rights that you had yesterday. And guess what? Tomorrow you will have the same rights. What the hell are you talking about? Stop lecturing people from your place of privilege, a word that you love to use constantly. There is no more privileged people right now. The multimillionaires crying their eyes out because they don't get their own way. That's privilege, regardless of your race and regardless of your gender. Oh my God, my candidate didn't win. Meltdown. Like it is the end of the world. No, let me tell you what's the end of the world. Not being able to make it till the end of the month. Not to have the basic needs. And you claim to be talking on behalf of working class people and the elderly. All of this from the safety of your mansion. So we, the working class, right, have to get advice from people who are actually part of corporate America. There, I said it. We're going to be analyzing this in a minute as well because, oh my God, corporate America won. What corporate America? Kamala Harris had over $1 billion to run her campaign. Do you all understand that? $1 billion. How many people can eat with $1 billion? And not only she had $1 billion and endorsements from Google, Johnson & Johnson, Apple, and so forth. Yes, let's talk about corporate America. Let's talk about corporate America. Yeah. You cannot get any more corporate than that. As a matter of fact, Like Hillary Clinton back in 2016, I believe that Kamala Harris, in numbers with endorsements and money, she doubled her opponent. She doubled her opponent. Same thing with Hillary Clinton back in 2016. I'm not sure if Hillary had $1 billion, probably close, but Kamala Harris had $1 billion. And guess what? Today, the Democratic Party owes $20 million. They're $20 million in debt. Her campaign has left with debts. $1 billion, guys. But no, these are the people who are talking on our behalf. $1 billion. And the rumors and how it was spent is going to make you angry. Trust me. Let me have a sip of water. Sorry, guys. Again, I'm dying in here. It's super hot and the air conditioning is not helping. Yeah. Going back to JLo's endorsement, she said something very interesting. She said that she believes that both women and Latinos had the power in this election. And holy, they did. They did. They voted for the other guy. As I said, 45% of women in general voted for the Republican candidate. And the number of Latinos, particularly Latino men, I think 59% went for the Republican candidate. So, yes, they had the power. They voted for somebody else. By the way, her speech was a masterclass in acting that we do not often see in her movies. So she ends up saying, let's get loud. And all I can think of is, let's get quiet. Because the more you talk, the worse it gets. During my research, I came across some very interesting channels. One of them is by Anton Daniels. He's an African American. And I loved how he talked about the fact that celebrity endorsement is not working. Again, let's go back to JLo's belief that women and Latinos hold the key to the election, but not for her candidate. It's for the other guy. And this is how endorsements are beginning to be unfold in our own eyes. Because once again, there is nothing wrong for you to endorse whoever you think it's the best candidate, but there are some serious accusations that some of these endorsements were more paid promotion, which is not difficult to believe. If you look at Cardi B's performance on that rally in Milwaukee, it's like, girl, they gave you a script. Clearly they gave you a script. You couldn't utter a word for yourself. You needed to read it. You needed a teleprompter. And when the teleprompter didn't work, you just stood there humiliating yourself up until you were handed the speech. Jennifer Lopez was also reading from a teleprompter. It's not that she was speaking from her heart. And yes, endorsements apparently, celebrity endorsement back in the day meant celebrities giving us insights on who to vote for. And nowadays, the public, the general public, it's going against celebrity endorsements. Before, they may have had an influence. I'm not quite sure how truthful that is. Back in 2016, Clinton had the whole of Hollywood and more. Everybody in the art world was Democratic or voted for the Dems or whatever, to the point that if you happen to be an artist but you are a conservative, there is no space for you. The mainstream media doesn't invite you to their programs. Talking about plurality of voices, right? So you're handed a script and it feels like, yeah, it's clear that you're there for a gig. You, as the people say nowadays, you're there for a bag. So, do you remember that before I mentioned about Glorilla? Glorilla is a new rapper, upcoming rapper. I have no idea who she is. I mean, I've heard of her, but I do not know her songs or anything like that. But at one point, she was performing for Kamala Harris, and you just think, why do we need a rapper to perform? Is this how you get the vote? And more disturbingly, is this how you think you're gonna get the black vote? Anton Daniels analyzed this. I'll invite you. I'm going to leave you the link because, I think he has a great analysis on the whole Kamala Harris campaign. And he talks about how having somebody like Glorilla is a distraction, really. It's a free concert for the attendees at the rally. But at the end of the day, it's kind of dumb and insulting to the electorate to think that they can be bought, that their opinion, their vote can be bought with so little. Yeah, I'll give you bread and circus, as it is said in some countries. In Spanish, it's said pan y circo, which comes from the whole Roman times in which, in order to entertain people, you just give them bread and circus. And this is pretty much a case of it. J Lo, Glorilla, Cardi B. It's not that they are bringing the greatest of aesthetics onto the table. They're kind of the total opposite. So I'm here to dance, I influence the TikTokers, the Instagrammers, I entertain you, and that's it. That's a vote for Kamala Harris, apparently. Um, Anton talks about, he has an insight of Black culture and how it seems that it has to, supposedly has to be tied with the Democratic Party, and you can be easily manipulated. I think he does a great analysis. So I'm gonna leave you the link. He's not the only one. We have Amir Odom. Again, I'm going to give you the link. He talks about how he went to a rally, a Kamala Harris rally, in which apparently there were rumors that Beyonce was going to perform. She didn't. She made a speech that only lasted 4 minutes, and chaos erupted because apparently people at the rally, they were expecting Beyonce to perform, so for them it was a free concert, and when the free concert didn't happen, people started booing at Kamala. Of all people, she was booed in her own rally. And this is what I'm saying, Kamala. It's like, what the hell are you doing? Why are you inviting these people? She continued to talk about reproductive issues. Some people are arguing that that's what her campaign was all about. Reproductive issues. It's all about gender and race. You need to vote. You're a woman, you need to vote for me. You're not white, then you need to vote for me. And guess what? The numbers went the other way. Anton also makes a good analysis that when he came to that rally in Houston, Texas, it seemed like people were only there to see Beyonce. And Beyonce, it's also into the Didi's cloud, like much like Jennifer Lopez. Okay, Jennifer Lopez was a Didi's lover at one point, at one stage. They were together in a relationship. Beyonce has participated, along with her husband Jay-Z, in plenty of the parties that Didi made, the famous white parties. And like Jennifer Lopez, she has virtually remained silent. So there are rumors in there that her integrity is also in jeopardy. I don't know. I never been to any of these parties, so I cannot accuse of either Jennifer or Beyonce to have done anything. But it's like it's telling everybody knows that these people have ties with Didi, and these all of them are silent about the issues. So this is what I'm saying as a candidate and a democratic candidate at that. I'm inviting these people on stage, all of them with real trust issues from the public. There is another YouTuber, Devori Donkeys. I hope I'm pronouncing this right. Again, going back to that rally in Texas in which Beyonce, I saw Beyonce going on stage. I have to see all of these speeches because, yeah, I know. So Beyonce went on stage, and at one point, she defined herself as a country woman because, she comes from Texas. So she has to be country. And she was not there as a celebrity, but as a mother who, on top of that, is pro choice. Yeah, you're there as a mother, but at the same time, you're pro choice. You're pro terminating pregnancies. Sorry, I cannot really say the word because apparently they ban you or they censor you because YouTube rules. Another one, Beyonce reading from a teleprompter, just like Cardi B or J Lo, and 4 minutes she lasted on stage. So we were talking about TV personalities and these so-called artists and their cultural resentment. Because when things don't get their own way, they come out and insult everybody. And once again, like that TV host in The View, that claimed to be talking about the working class, the elderly, the daughter with less rights, that everything is at risk. We're all at risk, apparently. And that mass deportation is going to happen. You know, this cultural resentment because people have rejected over and over, identity politics. We are rejecting this all around the world. It's not only the United States of America. We're rejecting this in Latin America. We're rejecting this in Europe. And needless to say, in other parts of the world, gender politics doesn't exist. Identity politics, they don't exist. Ironically, the first countries to have had female presidents elected or prime ministers were not Europe, was not the Western Hemisphere. It was actually places like India and Bangladesh. In Bangladesh has had a prime minister woman for I don't know how many years, two different parties, and they take turns. And people think that Kamala Harris is the first one ever to do anything. The United Kingdom has given us three female prime ministers, all from the conservative parties, none of them from the progressive side. By the way, I'm not saying that they were great prime ministers. I have my opinion on them. Argentina, the worst president that Argentina has ever had was a woman. So please do not follow this gender thing. I need to vote for you because you have a reproductive system. No, it doesn't work like that. You should win because you're the better candidate. Because you convince the public that you're the best option. And when it doesn't get your way, it's not all about misogyny. It's not about racism. It is perhaps you weren't the best candidate out there. Again, let's go back to the numbers. Latinos didn't think that Kamala Harris was the best. They didn't think that. Men overall didn't think that either, but okay, fine. It wasn't an overwhelming amount of women who voted for her either. Your numbers are down in comparison to Joe Biden and to Hillary Clinton's. That's why this election is considered a disaster, not because you just lost, but because you lost. Your loss is outstanding. There are counties in Florida and Texas where the overwhelming majority of the electorate is Latino. The Republican candidate won well over 90%. So I'm sorry, Sonny Hostin and the View panel. Sorry that people didn't vote it in the way that you wanted. The celebrity culture of telling people what to do has to stop, because you're being rejected over and over again. This is not the first time. You were already rejected back in 2016. Now it's confirmed. People don't want to hear singers, particularly those ones who don't sing, to tell them what to do. This is how it's going. Okay, but this is not only about them. Back in the day, we had George Clooney, back in July, telling President Biden to step down because he wasn't the best candidate, because he was too old. See, this is another thing about the progressive side. They're all claim that they're for women. Yeah, Katy Perry showed that to be true. They all come to you complaining about misogyny and racism, but ageism. They all decided that Joe Biden was too old and he was discarded. That's when the Democrats, in my opinion, lost the election. Because you talk the talk, but you don't walk the walk. So, okay, I don't like Joe Biden anymore. Guess what? He's too old. And don't even get me started. Back in 2008, when it was the election, Barack Obama was eventually elected. First term, Joe Biden was the vice president with Barack Obama. The candidates that they ran against was John McCain and Sarah Palin. The insults that Sarah Palin got from the progressive, from people from The View, actors in Hollywood saying that John McCain was too old to be president and that Sarah Palin was one heartbeat away to become president and she wasn't qualified. The nerve of some of those people talking derogatory in that way against a candidate that they didn't like because she was a woman and she was what they called a conservative. So she was derided. Her teenage daughter that happened to be pregnant was derided as well. Every time that the Republicans have a female candidate, the women in the progressive side, they insult them. But now you're the victims, right? You're all victims of racism and misogyny when you have been the misogyny that you have expressed back in the day. Now it's coming back to haunt you. That's what it is. I don't care whether the Republican candidate is a better president or not. Quite frankly, I don't care. It's not up to me to judge that. But the cultural, we need to talk about the culture. The culture of when you're my candidate, you're great, and if you don't vote for my candidate, you're racist and misogynist. But when there is another Black person from another party or a woman from another party that represent values that are not mine, you feel free to insult them, to deride them. I remember very well how you all treated Ben Carson. I remember very well. I remember very well how you all treated Sarah Palin. I remember very well. She was dumb, she was stupid, she was this, she was that. But you all got offended when people said the same thing about Kamala Harris. Yeah, I remember you all very well. Celebrities, Hollywood. I remember you all very well. So when Joe Biden was convenient for you, he was the man, he was the candidate. When you no longer felt that Biden was useful to you, you tossed him aside. Hollywood came out and said, no, Joe Biden, step aside. So after all the pressure, he had to step aside. That's when you guys lost the election, by the way, because you looked in shambles. But by the way, Kamala Harris didn't run a primary like she should have had and won the primaries like she should have had, like Hillary Clinton did back in the day, not once, but twice. First losing to Barack Obama, second time winning the primary and being the actual candidate for the Democratic Party. You all decided that she was the best option because she's a woman and she's not white. So you all decided she's the one that has to go. She's our candidate. We're with her. She didn't run a primary. Not even the Democrats really liked her that much. And we can see the election results. But no, Hollywood knows best. Yeah, we can tell, guys. Some people are happy about this election result because it shows that the woke mind virus might be eradicated. I'm not quite sure that's the case. I'm pretty sure this is a huge slap in the face on your ego that you thoroughly deserve. Yes, Hollywood, in particular you and some of these people that now are all crying, oh my God, oh my God, oh my. Yes, I remember you, how you treated people back in the day. We all know who you are. So stop giving us lessons. People are sick and tired of the progressive left. Yes, we are. I'm one of them. One of the reasons why I started um, this 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 channel, it's because I wanna hold artists accountable for what they do, but not only artists, also people who talk about arts and they want to give you lectures on ethics and aesthetics, and I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. That's why it's important to be open and honest. And it pains me that I have to tell Katy Perry, do you know who you worked with? J-Lo, do you know what you've been accused of? Beyonce, 4 Minutes Beyonce, who's apparently upset because she's never won the Grammy Award for Album of the Year when she's the most nominated and Grammy Award winners ever. Cardi, no, you're embarrassing. All of you are embarrassing. People don't want to hear sermons from billionaires from the comfort of their homes. So, yeah. An hour, guys, 59 minutes and 22 seconds. I wanted to make it shorter, but it didn't happen that way. So, yes, again, as I said, we're here to talk about art and culture. Ideologically side, I'm not here to tell you who to vote for, because I think at the end of the day, that's a decision that you should make. I'm here to criticize a little bit who needs to be held accountable. Yeah, we're having millionaires with their integrity in question, telling us what to do and what to vote. And they're not delivering. And I'm quite happy about that. I'm quite happy that the wrong people are kind of losing the argument. Um, I don't know how we're going to move forward from here, because I guess the next 4 years are going to be very similar to what happened between 2016 and 2020. It came to a point that for me it was absolutely impossible to watch the news. I believe that was the last time that I watched TV anyway, because the different networks. I remember back in the day, don't get upset with me. I used to watch CNN, and it came to a point that was unbearable. All they did was criticize the Republican Party, and it feels like I'm not getting the news. It feels like I'm being indoctrinated, and I'm not saying that other TV networks are not that. At one point, um, Fox News was very anti-Obama. That's impossible to watch as well. So, but I guess we're all tired of TV personalities and Hollywood and so-called singers. I mean, Bad Bunny, no, be quiet. You cannot even sing. You know what, J Lo? You know what, Bad Bunny? Instead of humiliating yourself doing speeches that, quite frankly, are very remote from what you should be doing. Let me tell you what you should be doing. You should study music. You should take singing lessons. You should be improving your craft. Cardi, Ups. Yeah, I'm not even sure what to say about you. About to say all these rappers. I'm not really sure what to say about you all, but it's like, yes, there is a rejection to the celebrity culture. There is a rejection of the celebrity endorsement. How we're moving forward, I don't know, because I know that in the next 4 years, all you're going to be doing is complaining. You're not going to have an introspective look of where are you going wrong. So we all know what's going to happen in the next 4 years. Complaints and complaints and offended and whatnot. That's what's going to be like. In the words of Van Jones, a CNN political analyst who used to work for the Barack Obama administration at one point and super fan of Kamala Harris, but even himself, he was like, guys, come on. This campaign was not really run how we should have run it. And we were, when we saw our opponents doing stuff, we laughed at their faces. We were arrogant. We thought that we knew how to do things, and now the joke is on us. So I guess introspection is the best thing that an artist, a real artist, can do. Not only about their work, not only about their art, but particularly how they conduct themselves in real life, and how that can affect their popularity, their integrity, their morals, and their values. So thank you very much for sticking up until the end of this video. Well over an hour. My videos are getting longer. Oh my God. Anyway, if you like this video, if you like this live, please, you know what to do. You need to like it. You need to share it. Please subscribe. Any help that you can give me at Patreon, that would be fantastic. The cultural battle doesn't happen on its own. I have a full series on ethics. I have videos in Spanish. I have videos in English. Uh, Soon there are going to be videos in other languages. Maybe it's gonna happen. So we'll wait and see. Uh, Thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Look, I do not expect of you to agree 100% with me all the time. You can dissent if you want to, very respectfully. You can write your opinion. I'm happy to have conversations, but you know, this was a cultural event that unfortunately I could not just let go. I don't really like to talk about politics, but yeah. So I'm sorry for Kamala, you know. Um, I don't know how you're going to move forward. I'm pretty sure you're going to have a really good pension for being vice president. How the Democratic Party is going to move forward, we don't know. Hopefully, you listen to us and you leave all this woke business aside and you start concentrating on real issues. That would be amazing. And who knows, you may end up being relevant again. Who knows? I mean, the Democratic Party will always be relevant. Let's be realistic. But everybody goes through cycles. Sometimes it's the Republican cycle, sometimes it's the Democrat cycle. In the UK, sometimes it's the Conservative cycle. Right now, there is a Labour government, and who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? Good opposition is important in democracy, but also strong and stable governments, like really strong and stable, not just strong and stable as you know a slogan. For those of us who live in the UK, they understand what I just said. Okay, so thank you very much. We'll see you next time. Please, I'm gonna leave you the links. Join me in my social media, my Instagram, my TikTok, my Facebook, my Telegram. And if you can support me on my Patreon, that would be amazing. So thank you very much, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.